Well, welcome to the Sports Wrap. George's got his John Randall jersey on this morning.
We have, Philly's coming to town. The Eagles are there. They're defending champions. We got to get John Randall's emotion. Yeah. And he was always one of my favorite defensive linemen.
I would say a lot of Viking fans' favorite defensive linemen, albeit to Carl Eller and Alan Page and Jim Marshall and the rest of the Keith Millard there's
the Purple Peoples.
Jared Allen. There's a few people out there that they would go in there, but obviously John would be right in there. So, well, shall we start with last night?
I had so much fun last night. It's like one of those things where I never really did see that the Gophers were underdogs on this one. I know that Nebraska and all the rest of that. The Gophers just took them apart defensively.
Yeah,
9 sacks.
I don't know if the defense can play much better than that, and and hope nobody out there takes this too much offense because I say it with all seriousness. I was kind of shocked that Nebraska's ranked 25. I understand they're 5-1.
Yeah,
I was kind of shocked, but for a team that supposedly really can't run the ball that well, the Gophers, who had given up a gigantic amount of yards to Purdue last week, really kind of stood up for themselves.
Well, and I'll tell you, all the papers have been talking about, and neither the Gophers or the Vikings seems to have been able to develop an identity. Well, I'm going to tell you when that identity started. It started with Purich grabbing a pass from 6, 8, 10 feet in the air and running it in for 35 yards for a pick six. It was one of the most remarkable interceptions I've ever seen, and he just kept right on jumping. He's only 6'1" or so, but I understand.
But he's a freak.
I understand he can stuff a basketball, and that's basically what he was doing there, was grabbing it and went for it. And I thought, from that point on, the Gophers were a different team. They had an identity. They weren't the losers anymore. And I think they carried that right into their game with Nebraska.
Yeah, I think having, of course, back-to-back home games helps. Winning on homecoming helps. It's a different ball game right now, and we'll see how things pan out. They get the Iowegians next week, right?
Yeah. We're going to be pumped up for that one.
Got to go on the road for that one, and we'll see how things go. An extra day of rest, an extra day of prep for the Hawkeyes. So the Gophers only led 7-6 at halftime, but there was really no concern with the defense the entire game. The offense at a couple times, you kind of were wondering where things were at, but. Obviously, Nebraska's got a pretty good defense as well, so they ended up with 24 points and win 24-6. And I think Tim Brando said if somebody gets up by more than one score in this game, it's probably over.
It's probably over,
and it was. I mean, the Nebraska just. How do you say the quarterback's name from Nebraska? Raiola.
Raiola.
He threw one while he was falling on his face. And he threw one left-handed. He's a righty. Threw one left-handed, and you're kind of going, well, if he's going to make those kind of passes, the Gophers are in trouble. But like you said, they sacked him 9 times, and he never really had time to get his feet set. He was dancing the whole night.
When he flung that pass, I heard Patrick Mahomes' name mentioned 5-6 times, because that's the kind of thing that he comes out with. And he's going down, landing on his hand so his knees don't touch, so he's not there, and just kind of flung it. It actually wasn't a half bad pass. It went about 10, 12 yards, and they picked it up and got a first down. But after that will hit the highlight reels for the Cornhuskers, and I'm not sure how many more highlights they had. I mean, 2 field goals. You got a number 25 team in the country coming in, and you hold them to 2 field goals on a defense that really has been questionable most of the year. Well, it wasn't questionable last night.
Yeah, good game plan. This number 21 for Nebraska, the running back, he's got some moves.
He does.
He's got a little bit of an attitude that I didn't like.
You know why his attitude is? He comes from Minneapolis.
Wow. There
And
you go.
so, and the Gophers.
That's why he was.
And the
being the way he
Gophers
was,
didn't recruit him.
Gotcha.
And so,
See, I didn't get that one. Now-
that's Emmett
now-
Johnson.
That kind of adds up.
It does, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big upset last night. Also on ESPN as I was flipping channels. Number 2 Miami, who I don't know who I was cheering harder for. Louisville? No, I know. I was cheering harder for the Gophers. But boy, when they threw that interception at the end of the game, I chortled louder for that than I did with anything the Gophers did the whole night. That was
Number 2 in the country, Miami, and they have
home.
won at home. They have won so many games. I don't remember the last time that Louisville beat them, and not to mention at home, and they put the sting to them. And boy, I'll tell you, if you're rated in the top 10 right now, I hope you enjoy your time there because it is.
okay. I'm gonna cross that bridge in a second,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna say this: Louisville has a chance to kick a field goal on the opening possession. They're down inside the 10-yard line, and they fake the field goal. You don't see teams fake
No.
field goals anymore because the whole premise of it is, well, if you're going to go for it, you might as well put your offense out on the field and give yourself the best chance. I believe that call told this team, we're going to try to win this game. We're not just here to kind of play it out and lose to the number 2 team in the nation. We're here to win this.
It reminded me of some of the stuff that Boise State was doing when they were coming in big times. You didn't know what they were going to come up with. And if you're a defensive coordinator, it's tough to figure out. They'll drive you right up a wall. I've been there.
So he just brought up about if you're in the top 10, you better hope you like your time there. So Indiana, of course, gets the big win here and all this other stuff. And Signetti signs a contract. I got to be careful here, but I'm going to say it this way. James Franklin lost his job on what, Monday? Monday. The Penn State's going to owe him $45 million over the next 6 years. He doesn't have to work a day for the next 6 years, and he's going to make $45 million. Okay. So this is the way it is. PJ Fleck has an 8-year contract that's probably worth $50 million, I would guess. $55 million, something like in that frame. Signetti from Indiana, who's now number 3 in the nation, they signed him for 8 years for $93 million. Now, I'm not trying to be whatever here, but is Indiana going to be this good in 2 years?
I'll tell you what.
They could be. Don't get me wrong. They could be. Signetti could be the Barry Alvarez of Big Ten football, and the rest. The rest could be history, so to speak. But what happens when he loses to number 67, whoever, here in a couple of years? Are they going to pull the pin like James Franklin had his pin pulled?
Franklin's going to lose 3 in a row, and a couple of those were at Happy Valley, and you just don't do that, and it's all these coaches. I mean, they got nice fat contracts, and I appreciate that. But boy, I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to bet on longevity. It's a tough sport for those guys.
Is Indiana no longer going to be a basketball school? They're going to be a football school?
No, they'll get both. They'll do both. I understand. You need a lot of NIL money to do what Indiana's doing. I mean, they do.
If they're going to stay in this stratosphere.
When they pulled him over from what was Appalachian State, he pulled a whole bunch of people with him, and that's when you have to say, here, is he just priming the pump for this football program, or are there people that are going to want to go to Indiana and play with this team? I'm telling you, that game at Oregon was huge. It was tremendously huge, and everybody just says, and they beat up Illinois, and I saw them when they beat up Illinois. They were ruthless, and when they came in, and when we talked about who's going to win this game, I says, yeah, probably Oregon, but Indiana's got a shot, and Indiana not only got a shot, but they took them down, and it's that was an amazing game.
So Signetti has primed this team, and I'll say it this way, with the whole underdog mentality. We're hunting because nobody respects us. Well, son of a gun, you're the number 3 team in the nation. Now, how does your team react to being the hunted rather than the hunter? Get a chance to Sparty, Michigan State, at Indiana today? Do they even have a prayer?
No. But, they don't. But Michigan State's not that bad either. It's just, right now, Indiana has got you covered on both sides of the ball. They've got special teams. The coach has an enthusiasm. These kids they believe in him as much as the Gophers believe in PJ. And it's just...
Well, that's a big part of it.
And that is a big part of it. So I just, right now, Indiana, if they've got to be considered, if they win today and somebody else loses, they might shoot right to the top. And
yeah, we have to beat Ohio State. I mean, Miami lost, so Indiana theoretically is going to be 2, and Ohio State's going to be 1. And
we'll be watching that game. I don't even know what it is, but it'll be a dandy.
There are some just unbelievable football games today as far as ranking wise go. Number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia, number 11 Tennessee at number 6 Alabama, number 20 USC at number 13 Notre Dame, and then the battle for Utah, number 23 Utah at number 15 BYU. Holy smokes! That's a heck of a lineup there.
And they are flopping all over the place, and I don't want to take away LSU and Vanderbilt, and Washington at Michigan, and then of course my good friend from Army are going to Tulane. That might be, but they're coming around a little bit. Purdue at Northwestern, Ohio State at Wisconsin, Michigan State at Indiana.
Could that game end in a tie? Ohio State, Wisconsin?
No.
Please?
No, that's not going to end in a tie. And
can they both lose?
No.
I think I said that maybe last week.
They can't both lose.
Dang it. Well,
it's one of the things that sooner or later we have to realize. The reality of the situation is Ohio State is really good at every level, and they're going to hit you. And I mean, the only thing that Ryan Day really has to accomplish the rest of this year is beat Michigan.
He better beat Michigan. No, I won't say he better, because everybody knows you can run the table and win the national championship. But he probably really needs to beat Michigan to keep his people happy.
We got Oregon and Rutgers, Penn State at Iowa, which should be a pretty interesting game.
That is going to be a very interesting contest. Iowa is no slouch. Penn State could lose 4 in a row.
They could. And it's who's to say? Maryland at UCLA.
What's up with UCLA?
I don't know what's up with UCLA. I just know that
can a coaching change make that much difference?
Yeah, it might. Did you see the enthusiasm that they had against Penn State? That the coaching staff was crazier than the players.
Well, and maybe that's what they decided they needed, was a little jazz.
Anyway, it's always nice to go back and watch the stadium that we went to last year. I do appreciate the Rose Bowl.
It's a memory that shan't fade, I don't think.
And Tennessee at Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, I just take a look, and I know the Tennessee studs are pulling for the orange. I'm not sure they can get it off, but I am going to pay attention to that game tonight.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, there's a lot of good football to watch today.
And A&M and Arkansas.
Nothing wrong with that one either.
Nothing the matter with that one. And then, of course, UMD, my good old team.
What the heck happened last Saturday?
They just didn't have enough kanoof, and it's just like they go down and they get in, they play really well. And then Northern State had come back and drill them again. And Northern State's the team that lost to Bemidji the week before. So, I'm not sure quite what happened there. And we kind of thought that was going to be a
You think maybe the Bulldogs were already looking past them? See how they lost to Bemidji?
They very well could have been. And I don't want them to do that with Mary either, because, any one of these teams, they got good people on their teams. So... Anyway, there should be great college. My eyes are going to be beady at 11 o'clock tonight.
Well, as you brought up BSU, I'm going to bring up, I was watching the Blue Bombers last night as well. I mean, think about this now, folks. I'm just going to put it out there. 2 baseball games on at the same time. Gopher football. Gopher hockey versus North Dakota. UMD women's hockey is on against Mankato. The UMD men are playing at Bemidji State for men's hockey. Go Bulldogs. Plus, I got the CFL going on. The Timberwolves were playing, and the Wild. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, the phone came in very handy last night. I'm listening to the Bulldogs because couldn't get them on TV. But I'm watching the Blue Bombers versus Saskatchewan, and the Blue Bombers really needed to win if they're going to solidify their trip to the playoffs here. But they took on Saskatchewan last night, who is going to be the number one team in the CFL going to the playoffs. But they've got a kid from Bemidji State.
They do.
On their roster, old Dell Duncan Busby.
Yeah.
And he was he had himself a couple of nice catches and kind of a possession receiver, and they were making a big deal about the fact that he was from Bemidji State on the broadcast. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up. And the Blue Bombers kicked the game-winning field goal with no time remaining to get the win last night, and 17-16.
Well, you know, Bemidji State a couple of years ago had a very outstanding passing team, and you know, they had one guy that wound up with New England. I don't know where he's at these days, but and then the other one went to Canada. So these they had some good receivers. Yeah,
good stuff.
See, UMD don't need that kind of receivers because
they got Wald Jesper.
They got Wald Jesper.
They'll just run over people.
Yeah,
so.
Beat people up.
Would you like to move to the pro football level?
Let's do that. Carson Wentz gets his fourth start.
Are you at all surprised?
No.
No, me either.
No,
and I know that the reporters and radio personnel and the TV personnel are trying to make something out of this about whatever. No, this is the right choice.
Number one, you've had to deal with this injury, and you know that it's a tough one to come back from. You know, a high ankle sprain are really, really tough, and he was going full go, and he was doing all the rest of that stuff, but full go in practice and full go out in the middle of that field, two different things.
Well, to me, this is not a Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy situation. Everybody's trying to make, well, he was the starting quarterback. Well, yeah, for 2 games, he's still quote unquote a rookie. To me, this is Carson Wentz's job to lose. As long as the Vikings continue to win and he continues to perform at an admirable level,
kind of like a Joe Flacco.
Kind of like a Joe. He's not coming out of the lineup. So stop asking if JJ's going to get the start this week. Carson Wentz is the quarterback for this team until he blows it, and I honestly don't think he's going to blow it because he's veteran. He's going to make, he's going to take a couple too many sacks. Okay, great. But he's usually going to make the right decision, and
unless he goes down, he's going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future.
I agree.
Yeah. So as long as he keeps on winning, and he is performing.
Are the Eagles who we think they were?
Yes.
Who they are? Are they that good? Are they that bad? What are we going to see tomorrow?
Well, I'm not at all sure. I do know that I got this jersey on for a purpose, and I think the Vikings at home, if they're playing consistently, especially on offense, the defense I think is going to be in there, and the last time I watched the Eagles play, they got beat by the Giants. And it's just, so I just don't know exactly how this is going to, but the Vikings got a shot at them.
Yeah, the Vikes rested up coming off of the bye.
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to come in not happy, but with the fact that they lost to the Giants, I don't think that's going to go over well. No, this is going to be a nutbuster game. I think it's going to be real close.
Thing. Yeah,
it's going to come down to a play here in the fourth quarter. Somebody's going to make a big interception one way or knock a fumble out or whatever, and that's going to cost the other team the game, or however you want to look at it. This is going to be 26-24, something in that vicinity. I think both teams are going to score a little bit. Their offenses are too good. They've both got decent defenses, so it's not going to be up in the 30s.
And they're going to be skull, and tooting their horn and banging that drum. When the Vikings get it rolling, sometimes they're tough to beat in that barn.
Oh, absolutely. Playing at home is definitely a big difference. So, I hope and want the Vikes to pull it out, but I won't be surprised, obviously, if they lose to the defending champs.
They're the defending champs for a reason. They're good. Now, football starts at 8:30 again tomorrow. I mean, this is really kind of cutting into my weekend time, but I will be watching. And
How good's that game going to be between the Rams and the Jags?
I don't know. I think the Jags have been they've been inconsistent, but
Yeah.
when they put out,
They can-
Lawrence is playing really well, and the Rams, they have all the equipment. Whether or not they can piece it together from week to week, it's hard to say. But
Well, their star receiver is not going to play. It was announced, so
Yeah.
that will make a difference. And my daughter said if Puka is not playing, then Stafford doesn't play well. So she said I can't play him on my fantasy team, and I'm like, well, good enough reasoning for me. So yeah, I'll probably turn it on maybe in the morning for a little bit, but I'll be getting primed for the noon game. But
noon game
between the Vikes and the Eagles. He's being paged.
I'm being paged.
He forgot to turn off the old ringer.
Oh, that's
So
Joe. I'll call you later. Yeah, no, I'm broadcasting right now.
so anyway, that's the way things go. So Colts versus Chargers tomorrow.
Yeah.
That could be a dandy.
You could.
Bucks Lions Monday night. Wow, I might even sit down and try to watch a little bit of that after getting done with work. Packers versus Cardinals. And Washington versus Dallas. We talked about the college having some good games. Obviously, the NFL has got some interesting games.
No, there's some good games.
But maybe my most favorite game of the week was already played, with Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh 33-31. Pittsburgh scores too early on their game-winning drive. Way to go, Aaron Rodgers. I hope your left tackle or right tackle or your offensive lineman, whoever he is, I wish he'd have landed on you even harder than you did, and then you scolded him for what I hope the next time you get out on the field, he does one of these Olay blocks and you get your
That was a good football game, and was run by two quarterbacks over 40 years old.
Isn't that scary?
Well, it is, because I remember George Blanda. He was I think in his 50s when he played his last game. But these guys play really, really well. And you forget that Joe Flacco at one time was a 5-star quarterback.
Wow.
And he played really, really well. He sees things back there, and
it was even better that Mike Tomlin, who complained earlier in the week that Cleveland had traded him to Cincinnati, and then he gets beat. And T. Higgins, what a nice job of sliding down and running out the clock, making the clock run out. It was beautiful. I couldn't have been happier. Now I wasn't watching it, but I was following along, and couldn't have been happier the way that it all ended up and worked out. So my good friend Jim, his Steelers lost on Thursday night, and his Nebraska Cornhuskers lost last night.
I feel bad.
Jim, I feel bad for you.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
I couldn't. It couldn't have been. So we got that going on. Is that the end of football? Or you got anything else over there?
One of the things that I have to talk about is, maybe we'll go there towards the end, but the Bronco football game, interesting game against CI.
I was there and watched and all the rest of that business. I don't know. The Broncos won by 22 points, but it didn't feel like a 22-point win. It never felt like they were in control, but it never felt like they were out of control. It was one of those games where it was just like you were waiting for the Broncos to bust out, and they finally did maybe in the fourth quarter. But it also alarms you that they didn't put this team away.
No, but they stopped them on the goal line, and that really took all the juice out of the Rangers. And it's one of those things where the Broncos had an opportunity a couple of times in the second half to put the game away. They just couldn't do it. And the only thing that concerns me about this, and you know this as well, when you're coaching against a pretty good team, it's hard to beat them 2 in a row, especially when there's only days apart. And I know those CI coaches, they are digging into that tape. They are looking, they are driving themselves and keeping themselves awake at night because they want to figure out some way how to come up here and knock off the Bronx. And I'm telling you, the Broncos, if they play really well, they could wind up being the finals, because I think they can beat Aiken. And Aiken plays Ely, I believe.
Correct.
And the whole thing gets Moose Lake Willow River. But right now the Broncos, when they're playing well, they're playing as good as anybody in the league. So
Yeah, Broncos ran the ball 30 times the other night for only 61 yards. CI did a great job at shutting down the run game. I would suspect our coaches are looking over on how they're going to perform better there, because obviously the Broncos would like to be balanced. And if you look at the play calls at the end with the pass plays that end up being scrambles for Hayden, 30 rushes, 30 passes. So that's about where they want to be. It's one of those games that is tough to keep your kids' noses heading in the right direction. You just beat this team by 22 points. Now you got to go do it again. And if you think it's going to be easy, Crosby's got 2 kids on their team that I believe are faster than our kids, any one of our kids on our team. I hope that's my assessment. If those kids get out into space, they cause us problems. So hopefully we'll eliminate.
I noticed that Kingston Jean didn't play.
Kingston Jean did not play, bad ankle. And hopefully he'll be healthy and ready to go for Tuesday. I think that's the hope, and I think that'll make a difference in the team.
Well, you had another strong running back, and they have to defend him no matter what he does. They got to defend him.
Put Crandall out in the slot,
yeah,
where he's very, very effective. Not to say that our 2 slot guys, Yuso and Thompson, aren't effective. Don't take anybody take that the wrong way. But you put Crandall on the edge, and he makes, well, both him and Yuso are possession receivers. They find ways to get open and get first downs, and that's a big deal.
And our good friend Kane, he came back with another performance. This kid, he's been in sports and performing so well. This is what I call expected performances, and he expects himself to perform that well, and he was all over the place. I mean, offense and defense.
43 defensive points. I just finished up the stats this morning. I'll just put it this way: he had a forced fumble, he had a tip pass, he had a forced pass, he had a sack. He didn't have an interception, he didn't have a fumble recovery, which are difficult things to get. But he plays just about every down. I know they tried to get him off the field on offense occasionally. He didn't get that many chances with Kingston not playing the other night to do that. So he had a whale of a ball game defensively, and then he catches a touchdown pass at the end and had a couple big passes and had a big rush, a big run in the game as well. So. Big night for 13.
Well, it is, and I talked to a former hockey coach, and he says, "Well, how's he doing?" And I says, I can compare him to Reggie Gilo or Howard Nevenin or Mike Manas or any of those great defensive ball players, and he's right up there. So I would say he's the best defensive player I've seen in the last 10, 15 years, and maybe 20. It's they put a little weight on him, and I don't know if he has any intention of going and playing after next week. But if he does, somebody's got a nice project.
Yeah, good athlete.
Good athlete
can do a lot of things. LBF football went up to Grand Marais on Wednesday night, lost 28-21. That was for the number 1 seed. So LBF gets the number 2 seed. They'll host Silver Bay, and then they'll probably get Southridge on Saturday. So the playoffs get started in full earnest, and Little Fork beat Southridge 20-16 on maybe a fortunate blocked punt towards the end of the game. I don't think Little Fork will look at it that way, but I had a chance to watch Little Fork at Black Duck a couple of Fridays ago, and I was impressed. They got some big lads, and they can run and throw the ball. Jack Sullivan is the quarterback, and he does a really nice job. So I'm hoping that I'll maybe go watch him in a section championship game. That'd be kind of fun as well.
That would be fun.
So
that would be fun.
Well, let's move on to hockey.
Do that.
Because the Bulldogs' big win last night in Bemidji got down 2-0 in the first, 5+ minutes, 6+ minutes. I turned it on. It was 2-1 by the time I couldn't even believe it was 2-1. It was the game had just started, but the Bulldogs reeled off 6 straight goals. End up winning 7-3. That's a good win against Bemidji. They played in Bemidji last night. They'll play at UMD down at Amsoil tonight. So looking forward to getting a chance to see them live.
Yeah, no, hey, it's an exciting time, and of course the Broncos play Tuesday, right?
Broncos,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock against CI. Yep.
Against CI.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. No passes if you're watching from International Falls.
No passes.
You got to pay $10 and 10 and 5 to get in. And if you're going to watch it on Huddle, you got to pay to watch it on Huddle.
Well, I'll sneak over and see if I can watch it.
There you go.
Yeah, I got $10.
UMD women won 5-0 versus Mankato last night. They're the 4th ranked team in the nation.
They are.
Went to Wisconsin last week, who's the number 1 team in the nation. No surprise there. We're ahead 3-2, George, with less than a minute to go, and lost 4-3.
Ooh.
And then lost 4-0 in game 2 of the series. So Minnesota Duluth looking pretty nice. As I mentioned, the UMD men get to play at home. UMD men have to go to Minnesota next weekend, and they got to go to North Dakota the following weekend.
So they're busy.
That's a full boat. And North Dakota beat Minnesota last night 5-2, an empty netter at the end for the final difference there. But of course, that was a pretty hotly contested game last night as well.
It was.
That I didn't get to watch a whole lot of with everything else going on, but I kept an eye over, quick flip over to see what the score was.
A lot of long faces in Minneapolis this morning.
We talk about could both Ohio State and Wisconsin lose. I would like to find a way for both North Dakota and Minnesota to lose as well. We can get a tie there, but. Yeah, obviously.
What I like about that Minnesota-North Dakota, I mean, it was at one time the hottest little series in all of college hockey.
Yeah.
And so they kind of broke away from that with the Big Ten tournament and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So if they're back and they're beating the heck out of each other, that's fine with me.
2 other hockey notes. The Minnesota Wilderness, who play in Cloquet, Minnesota, they won last night by a final score of 9-1. They're 11-1 on the season. They won 9-1. But here's the stat: they won 9-1. They went 0 for 15 on the power play.
Oh, how did they do that?
How do you score 9 goals and go 0 for on the power play? Much less get 15 power play. Who gets 15 power plays in a game?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It doesn't happen. If you get 3 or 4, you've done your job.
Wow.
15.
15 power plays and you go 0 for on. That hurts the percentage a lot. And the Wild last night, they had 7 shots on goal at the end of the second period. 7 shots on goal, George.
Oh boy. No, they are not starting off with a whiz bang here.
The scary part was they scored on their 5th shot of the game late in the second period to tie the game at 1, and I'm like, holy crap, they're going to pull this thing out of the dish. And about 27 seconds later, Washington goes down, slams one in, and it was just like any momentum the Wild had was gone. I don't know. Ovechkin got .898 last night.
He did.
Hadn't scored yet this season. Of course, he's got to score against the Wild on one of his, his laser beams from the top of the circle. Was on the wrong side of the ice, but he made a no-doubter with the clang off the pipe and in. I can't be really mad at him. I'd like him to get 900 and get it over with, but the Wild were outshot 44-15 in the first game of a 5-game road trip. I would bet that is not the way to start a 5-game road trip.
It is not.
That is ugly.
No, that is not.
Anyway, I think that kind of puts hockey to rest. You want to talk about your favorite baseball player?
Jorge Blanco.
That's your favorite one.
Yes,
I didn't think that was going to be the guy you were going to bring up.
He is just on fire. And, he's hitting home runs and getting walk-off hits and doing all the rest of this stuff. Who did he used to play for? Oh, yeah, the Twins. He's been amazing. And top of that, when was the last time we saw a West Coast World Series?
Never.
I don't think it ever has been. No.
I don't think it's ever happened.
No.
I unless the A's ever play the Dodgers. My recollection says no, right off the top of my head. But
I can't
I'm
remember
sure if
it.
somebody's watching this, they'll get us straightened away.
Anyway, the games are going to go late. I just know this, and so. But that's all right.
Yeah, Seattle gets a grand slam in the bottom of the 8th last night to win 6-2. They move ahead in the series 3-2. They're heading back to Toronto starting on Sunday night for Game 6. Toronto scores runs in bunches. Toronto's not dead. This is probably going 7. It'll be a heck of a game on Monday night to rival the Lions and the Bucks football game. We'll be channel surfing and doing whatever else. But I thought your favorite player was this guy from Japan. His name is Ohtani.
Ohtani, yes. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
so-
he is.
Well,
When he got 3 home runs last night.
So here's what I don't understand. Okay, this series is over. The LA gets the sweep in 4 games. Ohtani was 0 for 7 before he got his hit in the second game. First hit in the second game. Okay, listen to me. Finish on this thought. He got named the MVP of the series. He was 0 for 7.
He was hitting 133.
He hits 3 home runs and 3 at-bats last night and pitches and gets 10 strikeouts. First player ever to do that. Well, okay, I'll go along with that. That's pretty impressive game. But he's the MVP of the series. He doesn't play defense. Okay? They're telling you, and a lot of other people are telling me he's the greatest player ever. The son of a gun doesn't play defense. He sits on the bench, twiddles his thumbs, comes out and swings his toothpick once every 3 innings or 2 innings or whatever, and gets a hit here or there, and he comes out and pitches once every 4 days, and everybody wants me to tell me he's the greatest player. No, he's not the greatest player. He's a hell of a hitter. He's a heck of a pitcher, but he's not the greatest player because he doesn't play defense. He can't be the greatest player. He cannot be the MVP. He doesn't do what Aaron Judge, he definitely doesn't do what Cal Raleigh does. He is not the greatest player. He sits on his butt most of the game and swings it. No, can't be. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
wow. I feel better.
You got worked out. You got worked out on
I
that.
got that all off of me. I feel so much better. He's
on the other hand,
he's a freak talent, George.
He is the 12th man to get 3 home runs in 1 World Series game. You know, so this has happened before, and you know, and I mean, you just see some of the guys that did it, Jackson and stuff, Mr. October.
I remember when Reggie hit those 3 home runs. I was watching that night.
I was watching, and you were freaking out, as the rest of the world was too. And I mean, not like the pitchers on the mound; they were really freaking. But you know, Ohtani is what he's accomplished in terms of being able to pitch and being able to hit. I've not seen anything like it, and either has anybody else. He can still pitch and he can still hit.
I agree. If he played defense, I'll jump on the bandwagon. What does this mean for the Brewers? What is getting swept by the Dodgers? What is that?
It's a heartbreak.
It's just because I feel like there's teams that go through this every year. They have great regular seasons, and then all of a sudden, they're the greatest hitting team since sliced bread, and they were in the National League this year, and the bats just went silent. And in 162 games, there are going to be times in a regular season where you're all of a sudden, you know, you're going to go on a 2, 3, 4 day whatever, where the hits just don't happen. And that's what happened to the Brewers. I still think they're a very good team. They just ran up against some pretty good pitching.
Well, they did. And the Dodgers were hot. You know, they don't have much of a bullpen. You know, and they got some good starters.
$450 million. They don't have much of a bullpen.
You know, and so you always figured that maybe they'd pick some of that up.
They couldn't get the starting pitchers off the mound.
No, but I tell you what,
problem with Milwaukee.
This morning, Cal Raleigh realizes that Ohtani got 3 home runs, and he's capable of it as well.
Sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
You know, and when you want to talk about really good baseball players, a catcher, he knows how to play defense. He's got a rifle arm, and he can swing a ton. So, in terms of who's the best baseball player that's playing right now, Jorge Blanco, yes.
Had a thought. anyway, it's all right. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Gopher volleyball lost last night, 3-1
Yes.
out in Oregon. I'm sure your wife was
moaning.
devastated.
She was.
The Timberwolves lost at Chicago on Thursday night and lost last night at Philly in the final preseason game.
I'm not worried about that.
He's not worried. That's what I was hoping he was going to say.
Yeah.
Not worried at all. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Loons, last regular season game tonight out in LA against the Galaxy. They can't get any lower than fourth, which is where they're at right now, but they could get to second with a win and the two teams above them losing. So either way, I think the biggest thing is getting yourself straightened away. Hopefully, Vancouver moved ahead of San Diego. There's going to be no easy games when you get towards the end of the Western Conference playoffs. Let's just hope that the Loons can make a run. Enough said.
Why not? Yeah.
Let's see. What else have we got? Baseball. We got a couple of high school things that we should talk about. Bronco volleyball goes to Two Harbors on Wednesday in their first round game. LBF goes to Northwoods in their first round game on Wednesday. The swimmers, Thursday they go to Two Harbors for the Iron Range Conference meet as their season winds down, and the cross country kids have their section meet on Thursday in Coleraine. So big busy week of high school playoffs coming up, and of course the football's on Saturday and volleyball round 2's on Friday, so it just doesn't end. So
Here, I got to show you this.
he's going to show me something. Oh my God!
Who was on the field last night?
What the heck? I hit the wrong button. He was on the field.
He was on the field, storming the field.
What?
That's Augie Schmidt.
Yeah. Well, why is Augie? He's not a Gopher fan. What? He finally decided to come to the. We finally got him to come to the bright side.
Yeah, something like that.
Stay away from Illinois and. Oh, great.
Yeah, he's.
I'm on.
Look at. I'm on the
all it is.
field. Whoa. See, this is what youth gets you. You know, and I was listening to the broadcasters at the CI game, and Sue kept on saying, "Where's Augie? Where's Augie? Where's Augie? Augie, you weren't calling the game." And it's just like,
I've been forgotten. That's good.
I've been forgotten. Yeah.
No, I heard the broadcasting wasn't stellar.
No,
on Wednesday night.
I know that's because Augie, when he's broadcasting, a lot of times he'll throw a dance in the middle, and he'll scream and shout and rattle and rave, and he's got a press box there, a good sized press box. We've stuffed all kinds of people in there. He's only one, and he uses the whole thing. I mean, he moves around and screams.
Well,
and
he'll get his
shouts
chance to do the CI game on Tuesday night. Now he'll get full whatever.
Yeah, no, that won't be broadcast unless you're paying to Huddle.
For Huddle, yep.
For Huddle.
Well,
it costs. I don't know. It cost me $6 for the CI game.
I don't know what the section's going to be charging for the game. You might. I don't know what the deal. I would guess it's going to be $10.
I do know they'll charge.
They will charge.
We've run into that before.
No doubt about it. That is for sure.
That is for sure.
Guaranteed. You got anything else before I talk about the Bronco Athletic Hall of Fame?
No, but I'm interested in the Gopher or the Bronco Hall of Fame.
Well, we had our vote this week. I finally found enough time to call everybody yesterday and inform them who the 2026 induction class will be. I think our 14th class, if I remember right. So I'll try to do them alphabetically. How's that sound?
Let's get it done.
So Ed Barr,
Eddie,
is it will be the first one we'll talk about. So Ed graduated about 84, I think, off the top of my head. Ended up going and playing for the Gopher football team, and had himself a very very nice career. So he's down in Alabama. We had a nice chat. He was on the road driving. He does a lot of work with dogs. He
does. I'm on his website thing.
So he was heading back. I said, "Are you heading home to watch the Gophers?" He said, "I got 90 minutes until the game starts. I got 90 minutes to drive." He said, "It's going to be tight." He said, "But I'm going to be there to watch the Gophers." So that's number one. Larry Jot Cronkite,
yes,
hockey player from back in the 50s.
Yes,
lettered 5 times. As a Bronco hockey player, think about that. Now that means he lettered as an 8th grader.
Yeah.
Think about that. very talented. Went on to play some hockey obviously post high school along the way. So had a chance to talk with, I believe, his nephew yesterday, and oh my gosh, Steve was so excited, and the family, he said, is going to be ecstatic. We can't wait to come up
the Clarkites,
come up and celebrate. So that will be a good trip. The next one is Kathleen Johnson Callis, I think is how she told me it was pronounced. So I wanted to make sure I get that right. So I start practicing that. She graduated in '89. And was a fair shot putter and discus thrower.
Not a fair shot putter. She was an excellent shot putter, and she took that steel ball serious. When she stepped into the ring, boy, I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to get in her way. She was a very fine athlete, good student, a great kid.
And then Pat O'Brien, who also went on to play with the Gopher football team, a heck of a swimmer, and he talked about taking the shot and discus pretty seriously.
He did too.
He was a pretty fair thrower in his day as well.
He was.
So had a chance to talk to all of them yesterday, and of course, Pat was with the Gophers. His first year with the Gophers was my last year as a manager with the Gophers. So Pat was always there. Hey, Tim, you need a trip. You want to ride home? He said, I'm heading to the Falls. Said you can jump in. He said somebody can come out to the end of the road and come pick you up, and then I'll pick you up on the way back. Well, you're more than welcome to come with. So Pat was a great guy, and he was heading obviously to watch the Gophers last night. He's a part owner of a cigar lounge down in the cities, and he was heading to the cigar lounge to sit in one of the nice big cushy chairs
and smoke a cigar
and watch the Gopher game. He said he'd given up a ticket earlier in the season. Somebody wanted an extra ticket, so he had given up his ticket. So anyway, and then the 1988 girls basketball team is going to go in under of course, directed by head coach Kevin Dowdy, and of course the Erickson twins and Don Harder.
I believe that was the first International Falls team to ever make it to the state tournament.
Correct.
And and I said that to Kevin at the time. Kevin, you have any idea what you've accomplished? And of course, a few years later, he had his two sons that took the first boys basketball team to the state tournament. But you know, and Kevin's so humble, he'll never bring this up. He was one fine basketball coach, and especially on the court, he was always a court coach. He was all over the place. He was just a great coach. This was a great team, and I told him years ago, you got to be in the Hall of Fame. He says, I won't be in the Hall of Fame without my girls, and so that you are setting this up. But I've known Kevin for over 40 years now, and I knew the whole family. Outstanding selection, no doubt about it.
So that induction will be done on April 18th at Bacchus Auditorium. So. You can start making your plans, Xing off your calendar. If you know any of those individuals, start making plans to come out and honor them, have a great night with them as they get inducted into the Bronco Athletic Hall of Fame.
I get to go back to Pat O'Brien a little bit. He's a big, strong swimmer. I mean, he pushed a wake when he was swimming like an oar carrier, and and he was so big, but he could really, really swim. And I says, Pat, if you want to toughen up, you got to come into my wrestling room.
Can you imagine him as a wrestler?
Oh, no, yeah, I could imagine as a wrestler, but a lot of times I had to wrestle the heavyweights, and I thought, after a year or so, this guy is going to be a cruncher. But he would come in to the gym, or he would call me up. He and his brother would call me up. And they always want to play basketball.
Yeah.
And so he walked into my wrestling room over at Forestland, and I was warming up for my Wednesday night basketball game. And sometimes coaches get a little ornery when things aren't just as they seem. And so he wanted to take me on in a game of basketball, and I, as my friend Tess said, you showed him no mercy. I said, no, I really didn't. And I all the time was thinking, if you were wrestling for me, I wouldn't be able to do this to you. But you're a swimmer, and I'm just. But Pat and I were very good friends. I loved the family, Helen, and they were a real crew. And it'll be good to see Pat again.
Yeah, absolutely. So all good folks, and we'll. Like I said, April 18th will be the date. So
it will.
Anything else?
That about covers it, but I tell you what, go to the football game on Tuesday. I think it's going to be a fairly nice fall night. And this team is worth following, and they're worth watching. I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. How like I said, it's tough. They talk about tough to be a team 3 times in a season. Try playing the same team twice in 6 days.
6 days.
That'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. There were some tough moments in that game. A few late hits here and there. A little extracurricular. A little bit of talking. So I'm hoping our boys will keep their composure.
And mouth shut. And
mouth
it's one of those things where you get so pumped up that you just want to push it just a little bit more, and you can't. Because that is going to, one of the worst things you can do is lose a game because of penalties. And, and so all these kids are going to come back, and they're going to remember each other very well from just a few days ago. And so they're going to be going after each other strong. I just hope you keep your head on straight and follow your coaching. We got a very good coaching staff there, and coaches get to make mistakes every once in a while too. But for the most part, I think they call good games. They call a game that is compatible with Swenson's quarterbacking skills. And with Zach Husso's receiving, and they've got receivers all over the place. They got Line, they got Thompson, they've got both Crandall and Husso. They've got a good team. In fact, that offensive line is starting to look a little bit better all the time. And my good friend Logan Norby, I'm going to give him another shout out because he had a great game on Saturday.
I think that's going to do it.
Thursday. Yes,
all right.
That should do it.
All right. Thanks everybody for
Next
watching.
week.
Bye.